Welcome to this Apple Watch session. I'm going to show you how to build an Apple Watch app. So start by create a new Xcode project and click on this. Select the watch app. We're not building an iOS app, we're just building a watch app. So just click on this watch app and start the new project. Click on next and select the name. For example, we are doing Astro Watch. So let's say Astro Watch. And here you can say Astro Watch. Now I'm going to explain you how to create this bundle IDs. You need to create 3 bundle IDs for the watch app. I'm going to talk about it after a while. Then once you have done this, just create next, and it will create a new and select the location. I'm going to select Xcode. I'm going to select source, and then I'm going to create a new project. Okay, now that we have created a new project, I'm going to walk you through how this is done, what assets we need to use. So I'm going to talk about the projects here. If you look at these folders, there are 2 folders. One is Astro Watch. I'm going to make it larger for you. There's an Astro Watch WatchKit app, and there's an Astro Watch WatchKit extension. Now there are 2 folders here, and there are also 2 asset folders. Let me walk you through that. Now, if you see the screen here, there is one assets folder on the Astro Watch WatchKit app, and there is another assets at the Astro WatchKit extension. Now, let's talk about this WatchKit app. So, when we push the app to App Store, to the Watch App Store, keep that in mind that there is now a Watch App Store which is separate from App Store. So, you can see the Watch App Store from your Apple Watch just by going to the App Store on the Apple Watch. Now this is separate from the App Store for your regular iPhone apps. So if you look at the assets here, if I open this assets file here, now these are the icons for the Watch App Store. So if you open the Watch App Store, you will see this icon for your app. Now coming back to the second project here, there is an assets folder in the second project. Since this is a Zodiac signs project, there are 12 files here, each representing a Zodiac sign. Aquarius, Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, Gemini, Leo, Libra, Pisces, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Taurus, and so on. Okay, I'm going to talk about the bundle IDs you would need to set up for building this watch app. So as you can see here, there is my Apple developer account open here. And I've opened the identifiers tab, as you can see on the left side. Now here I've created 3 bundle IDs. If you notice here, the first one is for the Astro Watch. So that is com.navcar.astrowatch. The second one is for the watch kit. So if you look at the suffix of the bundle ID, it has the watch kit app. And the third one is watch kit extension. So the third one, if you look at the third bundle ID here, you have the WatchKit app dot WatchKit extension. So we have to create 3 bundle IDs for building when we're building the Apple Watch app. I'm going to take a moment and talk about the WK hosting controller. So in your watch app, the root interface controller is called it has to be inherited from WK hosting controller. So when you create a WatchKit app, you will see a file called hosting-controller.swift. For example, if you can see on the I'm going to zoom this. If you can see on the right here, on the left here, there is a file called hosting-controller.swift. Now this hosting-controller.swift inherits from WK hosting controller. This WK hosting controller forms the root of your app, which you can display the Swift UI. So for example, if you see the code I've written here, I'm inheriting the hosting controller from the WK hosting controller. Now this is done by this class is created by default when you create the Apple Watch project. But what I've done here is I've actually inheriting this, I'm adding this Zodiac list here, and also I'm overriding this body property. The body property is what is used. For example, if you look at here, this is the root view of your view hierarchy, and it's used to display your interface controller. That's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to display a Zodiac list, and by overriding this body property. So let's talk about the views and the model. Now I have two views here, zodiac list view and forecast view. So as you have seen in the demo earlier, in the zodiac list view gives you the list of all the zodiac signs, and the forecast view gives you the details of that zodiac. So that's why I have two views here. So let's talk about zodiac list view. So basically I'm inheriting a view here which is used to render the view on the watch. So here if you look at the previews, there is a structure called previews here. This is only for displaying the preview. For example, if I want to display the preview here, I click on the resume button here, and then I will see the view rendered here. So as you can see on the right side, I have this view rendered here which has displayed two zodiac signs, Aries and Taurus, because they are the first two in the list. Now how does this work? So what happens here is I'm inheriting the zodiac list from the view class, and I'm using this zodiac model. There is an observed object called zodiac model. Let's talk about the model first. A zodiac model would contain the list of all zodiac signs. So the way I'm doing this is I'm actually creating an item called zodiac item, which is inheriting from identifiable, which is an extension of a int. As you can see here, there's an extension, and I'm creating this self object here. The reason is I'm declaring this ID here, which means that this sign, whatever is coming here, would be uniquely identifying this zodiac item. That's what this means. So once I have done that, I'm actually publishing this variable called zodiac signs, which is an array of zodiac items, which is actually getting initialized in the init method, init function here, and this is what I'm doing. I'm creating this sun sign array here, and I'm adding this zodiac item to also. There are 12 of them here. This icon I'm getting it from the assets folder, which I've shown earlier. So once we have done this, we have our zodiac model ready. So once we have the zodiac model ready, when we go back to the views and write the rendering of each view, you would see that in the preview itself. Now, how does this work? So what I'm doing here is I'm actually iterating through each of the zodiac signs and creating a navigation link. The reason I'm creating a navigation link is when I click on this Aries button link here, Aries list view item here, it has to take me to a new page called as forecast view. As you can see here, there's a forecast view. Now that is what I'm doing here. I'm pointing this forecast view as a destination for this navigation link. Next, let's talk about forecast view. In the forecast view, as you can see, it has already changed. The preview is already changed here. The forecast view, it is a scrollable view. It has a vertical stack. VStack means vertical stack of an image of the text of the sun sign, which is this Aquarius here, a spacer, and the date, which you can see here, August 29, 2020, and a spacer again, and the text of the actual value of the horoscope. Since it is not rendered completely, it is not shown here. It is shown when we run the app. That is what I'm doing here. So they're very simple. So there are two different views. One is for the zodiac list, and another is from the forecast. Coming back to the zodiac model. Now, in the forecast model, I'm actually calling this API to get the forecast for that sun sign. So the input here is actually the sun sign. If you can see here, I'm actually calling this from the init, and init is taking a query as a parameter. So when I initialize this forecast model, which I'm going to show you here in the view here. Yeah, so when I'm calling this forecast model here, I'm actually calling the query parameter which we just discussed and passing in the sign of the zodiac. For example, here the sign of zodiac is Aries or Taurus, whatever you select. So once you select that, it's calling the forecast model, which is actually invoking this endpoint here. There is a beautiful article here, building WatchOS app interfaces with SwiftUI. The benefit of SwiftUI is it is a very feature-rich, simple scripting-like syntax where you can write a script here. For example, here I can actually write a script here, and I can see the changes instantly being done here. For example, here I have the zodiac sign cell view here. I have a horizontal stack, and within a horizontal stack I have another horizontal stack with an image, and which is resizable, which has a frame height of 50 by 50. As you can see, it's highlighted here, and it is scaled to fit, and it has a small padding. That is, there is a small padding here, 1 pixel, and there is another text item with the name of the sign, as you can see here. Now, the benefit of having Swift UI is it is simple declarative syntax, as you can see here, and you can see the changes instantly using this preview. Now, the preview is provided by this struct. This struct has the only purpose of this struct is just a preview. It has no way used in the app. So here, if you add this line here, you can instantly see the preview without actually doing a full-fledged compilation and run. I want you folks to spend some time reading this article. This is regarding building watchOS app interfaces using SwiftUI. Now, the benefit of SwiftUI is it is a declarative framework, which is like a script, with which you can declare UIs, and it has SRP principle built into it, which can be used to build more complex layout. And as you can see here, SwiftUI detects changes to the state and updates the views accordingly. So it has a MVVM framework built into it, which means the model is always very close to the view, and model will have only elements that is displayed by the view. So if there is a change in the model, the view gets refreshed automatically. That is a fundamental principle of MVVM, which was actually initially defined by Microsoft. Now here, as you can see here, on watchOS, SwiftUI gives you considerable more flexibility than storyboard-based layouts. So the storyboard concept of layout is getting outdated very soon, and you have to quickly catch up on how to build a SwiftUI using the declarative framework. So using this, the benefit of this SwiftUI is, especially in this case, is there is this preview structure which you can use, which can help you to quickly render the UIs without doing a full compilation and rebuild. So I have open sourced this code here for the watch app, and if you can go to my GitHub account, that is github.com/navkar, you would see a repo for this horoscope watch app. I put a hero image. I've explained what it takes, different screenshots, and the views that I've written. So you can download the code and test drive for yourself. I want you to observe that there are 3 targets here for the Astro Watch app. One is the Astro Watch app, second is the WatchKit, and third one is extension. So for the first one, if you click on the first Astro Watch target, you will see the display name as Astro Watch, as you can see here, and the bundle identifier and the version and the build. Now if you click on the second one, you will see a different bundle identifier which I've used for the WatchKit app, and if you click on the third one, you will see a different bundle identifier. But make sure that the version and the build are identical in all the 3 targets. For example, in the first one, I have 1.0 build 2, the second one is the same, and the third one is also the same. So make sure that for all the 3 targets, the version and the build are identical. And the bundle IDs will be different anyway because there are 3 different targets. So there are some pitfalls I want to make sure that you get it. So if you make a mistake in the bundle identifier, you would get some weird errors like this: bad bundle identifier, App Store Connect operation error, invalid CF bundle identifier. The reason I noticed is, as long as you have 3 different bundle IDs, as you can see here, the 3 different bundle IDs here for your WatchKit app, you will not see these errors. This will save you a lot of debugging time. I've also included some screenshots here. So in the info.plist, you should have the right bundle identifier, and also in the second info, there are 2 info.plist here. One is for the watch extension and one is for the watch app. In the second watch extension also, make sure you have the right bundle identifier. If you have stuck around this far to learn about the Astro Watch app, I want you to try out this app. There is the source code on GitHub. Once you download the source code, you just have to compile and get it run. It won't take very long to do a quick test on it. I want you to subscribe and like this video if you have come this far. Thank you so much.